So hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. Today we are going to be discussing the rigid body system in Blender, and we're going to be talking about the passive and the active rigid body system, and that's going to be found in our physics tab. Yeah, so let's quickly just dive into that. All right, so to find your physics tab in Blender, you just go to the properties tab. So we have physics just under particles, right? So go to physics. So we have a list of physics here. We have the force field, collision, cloth, dynamic paint, soft body, fluid, rigid body, and rigid body constraint. So we're going to be working with the rigid body. So when you select your object in your scene and you apply the rigid body, right? Um, on default, we have the active rigid body type activated, right? So when we press the play button, we have this happening, right? So it's falling down as usual, right? Because gravity is defaultly turned on in Blender. So when we change the type to passive, which is the second type that I mentioned, right? When we press play, it stays still. So we have the active and the passive rigid body, right? So what one does is that it keeps it steady, while the other one um, keeps it so what one does, it keeps it steady, which is passive, while the active keeps it active, meaning when you press play to simulate, gravity is going to have effect on that particular object, right? So now I duplicated my cube, so I'm going to make one active, which is this, and this is going to be passive. So when I press play, one is going to drop and one stays put, right? So this can serve as a collision ground for our objects to collide on when we have multiple objects falling to the ground. So let's make a quick example right here. So I'm going to delete everything right here. Press X to delete this, right? So Shift A, bring in your mesh, go to plane. I'm going to just scale this up a bit and go to the physics, go to rigid body, apply rigid body, then go to the type and switch it to passive. So let's add a cube or a UV sphere. I'm just gonna make this smooth. I like doing that always to have a fine smooth body. So I'm just gonna take this up a bit, right? And then I'm going to apply a rigid body to this UV sphere. And then this is active on default, right? So when I press play, we'd have something like this. It just drops down to the plane, right? Having direct contact to the plane. Yeah, so what more can we do with this, right? So let's add something else, right? So let's shift A, let's add a cube to this. Let's move them up a bit. Let's take this one as well up a bit. So let's have some more interesting collision. So let me add a rigid body to the cube. Yeah, and let me duplicate it, shift D and Z axis. And I'm going to have them fall down together. Press play and see what's happening, right? Yes. Awesome. You can see it's falling down. Of course, because there's gravity. So we're not going to touch gravity because that's what happens in real life when you drop an object to the ground, right? It have the collision on the ground and it hits some other object. So that's what we're looking for. Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, so quickly, the next thing I'm going to explore is the weight. There's a mass, sorry, no weight. There's something called mass in settings, right? On default, we have 1 kg. So 1 kg is it's telling you like this is the weight of this cube. So meaning if you increase it to like 10, right, it's gonna have effect on the weight of the cube. You can see it basically changes the behavior basically, right? So when we even add some more weights to this ball, right? Let me make this ball like 70 kg. It was gonna happen, right? So let's simulate. You can see how it kicked that first cube out of the way. Look at it. You can see it almost kind of like squashes the cube. Watch, can you see that? So because of we've added more weight to our ball, it's kind of giving a vibe of a recon ball. You understand? Yeah. So I think that's it. So finally, there's one more thing that we have here. So we have something called animated, meaning that we can animate um, a particular object that has a rigid body system applied to it. So I'm going to give an example, right? I'm going to apply um, animated option to this plane. So just select your plane and click on the animated box, right? So when I press simulate, and I press G to grab and I move my mouse, right? You can see it's like I'm playing a ping pong with my object, right? See they fall off the mesh. Okay, right. So when you let me just do that again quickly. So when I press play and I press G to grab the mesh, I just move my hand, basically move the mouse instead, right? You can see it's in real time. It interacts in real time. Yeah. So you need to learn how to quickly know how to grab and move for your timeline out. Yeah. So that's what the animated. That's what it can do. Do you understand? Okay, so one more thing, we have what we call the collision shapes, right? So on default, we have what is called convex hull. We have them box, sphere, capsule, cylinder, cone, and we have mesh and compound parent, right? So basically, convex hull is like the default, meaning that it gives them perfect collision, right? So if you want like a more perfect collision for this sphere, right, you can just go and switch it to sphere. If you want for box, since it's box, switch it to box, and so on and so forth, right? Depending on the shape that you are creating, right? It gives more accurate calculations to calculate the physics that it needs to give you a very good rigid collision object, right? So I'm going to show you the mesh option, which is very important to know. So let's do something different now. So I'm just going to select my ground plane, and I'm going to like edit it, right? I'm going to go to tab, edit mode, go to the face selection, right? Press E to extrude on the Z axis, bring it up a bit. So I'm going to delete this face, right? Press X to delete the face. I'm going to delete face. So we have like a box, right? With all around it, right? So when we go back to edit mode, so the whole idea is to have this um, three objects that have passive rigid bodies to fall into the cube without like falling out of the box, right? So when I press play, so we'll have here, right? You can see there's something happening. It's not going inside. You can see it's kind of like there's an invincible collision object right here. So why? Because it's set to convex hull. On default, it just seems as a cube or like a flat plane. So now this is why we have the the mesh object, right? So when we change this to mesh, right? This particular cube, right? To mesh. This now, yeah. So it's going to take the shape of the box and make a new collision for it. So we're going to recognize that now there's a halo in this box, right? So when you have like a complex object, right, and you bring in like a monkey head. So now monkey head has a very dynamic shape. You can see it's not like a cube, it's not a sphere. It has different curves and angles to that. So adding this kind of collision object, which is convex, which is like cube, it's not going to work perfectly. So you need to use mesh because they're going to recognize every curves and every curves to the collision, right? So I'm going to delete this, right? So let's get back here. So select this and make sure you switch this to mesh, right? So when we press play now, it's going to recognize it. Can you see? Perfect. This is what we want. Awesome. You can see nothing else is falling out. So when I press play again and I G to grab, I can still move it up. Oh, it's too tight for it, so it's fighting, right? Which is understandable. They can see. Can you see? Catch, catch, catch. Yeah. So basically that's what it does, right? You can explore more of that. All right. So the next thing we're gonna create, we're gonna create like a tunnel, right? And have like a couple of balls falling into the tunnel and entering this particular box, right? It's one of the project we created in class. So I'm just briefly going to show you. Let me see if I can grab a video of that. So we'll have this video that I quickly created to show how the rigid body works, right? Really this tiny little project. So Let's create something like this quickly all together, right? So let's go. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this box right here. I'm going to let me just delete this three shapes, bring in a new cube, right? Let's make it up. Let me scale it up a bit. That's a scale. It's fine by me. So I'm just going to I'm basically just going to go to my edit mode and face selection, select the face, this top face. So I want to extrude it, right? So I'm just going to go to my Z axis, right? Or press a numpad 3 to come to the side view profile, right? I'm just going to press E to extrude and just move it up. You can use your move tool to move it to the side. E to extrude again. Use your move tool to move to the side. E to extrude. E to extrude. Just create any kind of dynamic shape you would prefer, right? You can still scale it up to make the opening bigger. S to scale, right? So I'm just going to work with this for now, nothing serious. Let me go to edge selection and hold Alt to select this edge. I can just basically give it a more dynamic shape. S to scale to make it bigger. That's what I'm doing. So just use Alt, select, press S to scale, right? I'm trying to make it turn out like a little spacious. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so this works for me. You can just go crazy with this and create whatever kind of shape you want, right? So the whole idea is to make space for the balls to fall right through and fall into this box. So next thing, I'm just going to press A to select all the parts of the tube. So I'm going to like add a bevel to this, right? So press Ctrl B and then just drag your mouse out a little bit. So you have something like this, and then use your scroll wheel button to just add more loop cuts to it. I'm just gonna add like 2. That's fine by me. And then let's click to accept, right? And we have this shape. Yeah, we have the shape. I think before we do that, right, let's just undo that. Let's just delete the top and the bottom. So just select the face and press X and delete the face, right? So we have the hole in between. So go to the bottom, select the bottom face, press X to delete the face here. So we have a space for the balls to fall right through, right? So now we can press H, select everything, right? Now because we're in edit mode, you're just going to select only this mesh and not not the light, not the camera, not this other box we have down here. So once you've done that, press Ctrl B and move your mouse, and then you have this shape, right? And then just accept that, and then go back to your edit mode. So you can see everything is smooth and we have our opening. You can right click to shade smooth, so it's looking very more refined. Yeah, so I think this is gonna work for me, right? This is not the best tube you can have, but I'm just doing this for to show you how it works. So now we have our tube. So next thing we're gonna add our ball, right? So just Shift A, add your UV sphere, right? So things down here. So just use your move tool and just move it up this way. Yes, something like this. Yes. So let me right click to shade smooth. Okay, so awesome. So next thing we're going to add our rigid body system, right? So select the ball, add the rigid body, leave it at active, nothing to change, right? Just leave it at convex hull, which is fine. So for this, go to rigid body, add a new rigid body system, and set this to passive, else it's going to fall down, and we do not want that, and that's fine. So now when we press play and here, we're going to have this ball drop here, right? Guess why? Yes, you guess right. So because we haven't changed the collision shape to mesh, so it can recognize that there is a hole inside of this tube. So now when we press play again, it's going to fall right through. Sorry, we have to do that again. There's just some error. Blender can be very buggy with rigid body. I don't know why. Yes, you can see falling right through it. Yeah, and it's going to come down here. Awesome, perfect. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this UV sphere to have multiple balls falling down this tube. So I'm just going to go to my side profile, And basically just going to move this to the side to make sure it aligns into the whole space, right? So I'm just going to shift D to duplicate, move it on the Y axis, right? So I have it this way. Yeah, so mind you, you always have to create space between two objects, right? Like you have some amount of space in between. Do not have them collide this way, else they're going to like split apart like this. Can you see that? They're like kind of fighting. So the rigid body system in Blender does not like mesh collision. So always create like a space, a decent space apart from two or more meshes. Yes, so I'm just going to go to this view, which is a Y here. I'm going to select everything, right? The both UV sphere here, and then press Shift. I'm just going to move it aside first in a way that you can see fall into this tube, right? So Shift D to duplicate. I'll move them on the, this is our Y axis, so X axis, and have it this way. Yeah, so they have their space to fall right into the tube. So I'm just going to select the four of them and just so make sure you're not selecting anything from your light and cameras because I don't have them in my view. That's how I can use this box selection, because if I'm in this view now and I have something else, like let's say our light is up here, for example, right? And I'm doing box selection like this. You can see, you might not know this, but you've added your light to selection. You can see, so anything you do is going to be applied to your light, so you have to be aware of that. So make sure you're not selecting the lights. So for now I don't even need it, so I can just delete it from the scene, right? So, or you can just select them one by one by holding, select one and hold Shift, select the rest by holding down Shift. This way, this is more safer. So just gonna press Shift D, Z on the Z axis to bring it up, Shift Z, Z axis, bring it up, so I can have some more. So as much as you want you can create, but kindly know that the more you create, it's going to like tell on your system hardware, and you're going to take more time to calculate the simulation. So I'm just going to like leave this number for just this tutorial sake, right? When we press play, we have them falling right through this too. Very cool, awesome. Okay, so I think that's that. So I'm just going to show you next how to go to your shading tab and then have like multiple colors to your ball, right? So basically, I'm just going to select create a new material from one of them. Just create a new material, right? So just add your Shift A, add object info node, right? And then add your color ramp, the color ramp node. Connect random to factor and color to your base color, and then just hold on. Just going to have a black color here, so you can rename it, right? Whatever name you want to give it. So just come to this linear interpolation. Let's switch it to constant. So you can see we have black and white because our colors are just black and white. So let's change black to something else, right? And then the white, so we can give it something else. Let's say like a red color here. Okay, yeah. So we can see there's nothing affecting every other one now. Now because these other balls are not sharing the same material with this particular one. So let me show you how to link materials, right? So you select all the other balls, right? Hold down your Shift, and then make sure you're selecting the ball that has the material last. Make sure it's the last to select. So hold down Shift and select the ball last to select, right? And press Ctrl L on your keyboard. Ctrl L, L for lion, right? Then you see link material. So click on that. This is going to link the materials together, so they all share the same material, right? So we can see we're having our red and blue balls, right, which is what we have in our color ramp. So how can you add more colors to this? So just use this plus button and see you're adding more nodes to that. So click on the blue, you can change something else. Can you see that? You can see add more color. You can space them apart, right? Space them apart. Select this, change this to something else. Let's give it yellow, so you can see. So that's how to add random colors to your object, right, in Blender. Of course, you can use the minus key to remove more of them as much as you want. So just going to undo that. So I think that's it for this. So for this one, you can just create a new material. You can just give it any color you like. If you want it to be transparent, you can just add add a be transparent or translucent. Let's try a translucent node, right? Let's add a mix shader. Add a mix shader, drop it here, and then connect this to the shader right here. So we have something like this. I don't know if it's going to be transparent. Let's go to the material tab here and switch the blend mode to alpha hash, so we can have some level of transparency. Let's reduce the mix factor a bit down here. So let's go back to layout and just play this simulation. Let me pause it here. Let's go back to the shading to see if it's working. So I can't still see it. Yeah, so let's just use a transparent instead. To delete this, bring a transparent BSDF here, and then just connect it to your shader. So you can see, okay, yeah, so this works. So transparent BSDF works. You can see we give the transparent pinkish material, so you can see right through. You can control transparency by reducing the factor value here. Okay, so that's up to you, right? And you can change the color, whatever you want here. So I don't know if it's going to affect the color transparency. We'll just leave it at white so you can see through better. Yeah, so that's that. You can give this whatever color you'd like. That's up to you. Yeah, so that's, let's go back to our layouts, and when we play this, we have our simulations falling down to the queue. Yeah, so one more thing. So let me show you how to bake this simulation so that your computer does not always have to calculate these simulations over and over again. So just come down to your scene world here, and you see under the rigid body world, you see cache. Open that cache. So when you click on bake, you see this is your baked timeline from 1 to 250 frame, which is same with your original timeline right here, right? So you can extend this if you want to. So you can just bake this. When you click on bake, right down, it's going to show you, see, 80 to 100%, and it's done. So you don't have to keep having to wait for slow calculation. So it's going to play in real time right now. You can see it's very fast. It's not calculating anything. It's just moving up very fast. Can you see? So that's how to do that. Let's go to our render view so we can see. So let me just quickly add an HDRI to the. Okay, so let's add this HDRI. Yes. So you can see right here it plays in real time. Yeah, so that's how to go about the basic rigid body, guys. So I think this brings us to the end of this video. If there's anything that I'm leaving out, please just kindly drop in our group or drop in the comment section, then I'm going to attend to it. Thank you so much, guys, and do have a great and wonderful time. Cheers.